Well, most of you have seen that China went and saw its annexed state, California. That's sarcasm, calm down. But it sure looked that way with all those communist flags flying all over the place. Looked like, France when the Allies showed up. Oh, but I digress. There's only really one part that I found interesting because we all know Biden is not in charge. So let's get started. Now here's our crew over here congratulating themselves. Job well done. The ones that actually do make all the decisions and the strategies of how they're going to run the USA. We're seeing a lot of smiles. They are stressed, so we see the hands in front, most of them. Cameraman's gone crazy. Come on, zoom back out. Zoom back out. There you go. All waiting anxiously. And you can pretty much tell that because either they're hands in front or they don't know what to do with their hands. And they're constantly just behind them, in front of them, pockets, if they have them. You saw Carrie do that. Anxiously looking for the extra people to come in. Press. So right off the bat, we see some stress. And it's so stressed that Blinken, his shoulders actually come up around his neck as he shakes Xi's hand. It's like, oh, wow, that's an extreme amount of stress. Now, there are things that we don't know what's going on. We do not know what was negotiated or the hopes or the plans or anything. We just know whatever it is, they're stressed about it. So at this point, they've actually had somewhat of a meeting. We don't know what has happened, what has been said, or what was involved. For all we know, it could have been freaking tea.
About a year and a day ago, we met in Bali on the sidelines of the G20. Since then, key members of our teams have had important discussions on issues matters to both our nations and to the world. But as always, there's no...
All right. So he mentions Bali when he last met them. You see the gentleman next to Xi with a balding one, or his hair is so white he looks bald. He gives a head shake in the positive. Now, Biden mentions the team members that have actually been, doing whatever negotiating or policy negotiating, whatever it was, the meetings. We do not see positive head movement. We don't see anything. We don't even see an acknowledgement. Because my thought process would be on that particular thing, if it was positive or a mutual respect or any of those things that would say the parties involved felt at least neutral to positive about the situation, they would look to the people that they had these policy conversations with. And the Chinese ain't looking at nobody. Absolutely nobody. If you go back to the American side,
key members of our teams have had important discussions on issues matters to both our nations and to the world.
It's actually quite strange. The Americans don't do it either. Nobody wants to look at anybody. And as we saw just a little glimpse of Blinken as he's going through this head, and we see the other guy, Sullivan, I believe that's his name, Blinken's right-hand man, are both watching Biden intently as he reads. They're actually more stressed about it coming out of his mouth than they are about this little meeting with Xi.
But as always, there's no substitute to face-to-face discussions. I've always found our discussions straightforward and frank, and I've always appreciated them. Mr. President, we know each other for a long time. We haven't always agreed, which was not a surprise to anyone, but our meetings have always been candid, straightforward, and useful. I've never doubted what you've told me in terms of your candid nature in which you speak. I value our conversation because I think it's paramount.
About the only time we see a positive move from Xi, and the other guy beside him, next to him, have relaxed on the whole thing of being candid. All right, let's skip to Xi. I think that's going to be more interesting.
Mr. President, good morning.
All right, now we've got John Kerry already hand to mouth, stress, wiggling around, pretty much flexing.
Coming here, I think of your trip to China. When I was the vice president of China, we had a meeting. It was 12 years ago. I still remember our interactions very vividly, and it always gives me a lot of thoughts. Last time we met in Bali, you said it was a year and a day ago. A lot has happened since then. The world has emerged from the COVID pandemic, but is still under its tremendous impacts. The global economy is recovering, but its momentum remains sluggish. Industrial and supply chains are still under the threat of interruption, and protectionism is rising.
Still under the threat of interruption, and then you see the negative swing of Blinken's head. I'm going to see the rest of them as they do it too.
Industrial and supply chains are still under the threat of interruption, and protectionism is rising.
And we see Sullivan over here. Huge breath in. Stress. Apparently that is not what they wanted to hear. I look at this, and for those of you who have been watching, do you remember when they went and saw the Saudi Arabia guy? They were like expecting this huge thing of they're going to increase oil output to help with, prices. And instead he came out and said something different, and Blinken's little reaction to it and Sullivan's reaction to it, like, oh, that was what we discussed. I guess they're not afraid of that guy. But with Xi, there's a lot of stress. I think they're a little terrified of him. Can't be slapping Xi around. Apparently they feel like they can slap the Saudi Arabia guy down. And because we sit there and see that, and I see the correlation kind of in there of the reactions, and this is where you just kind of like put pieces together. Either he was supposed to announce something, or something is mentioned that wasn't supposed to be, or his delivery was not nice. I have no idea. I mean, he's going over about supply chains and COVID, and we see that stress event, and it could literally be on the other side about... He's supposed to be buying treasuries. Why is he talking about this? We have no idea. That's just an example. That's not what it is. That's just an example. But there's meat here.
All these are grave problems. The China-US relationship, which is the most important bilateral relationship in the world, should be perceived and envisioned in a broad context of the accelerating global transformations unseen in a century.
All right, now this is a movement I normally see on people that are kind of neurotic. You see that Blinken, he's wiggling back and forth, and it's not a fast wiggle. It's like someone who's dodging mentally whatever's coming through. So he leans one side, dodge, leans the other side, dodge. It's very slow, it's methodical, it's the mind kind of working as he's going through this. And to be sitting in a chair, stuck, he can't move, he can't come over and say, stop, we'll do this, come on. I would say probably in a negotiation, he does not allow other people to speak, which is probably why he loses negotiations. Because if you don't allow them to speak then and air out the issues, they'll just do it and close the deal off once they're away from you. And in this setting, he's not able to tell Xi, no. Oh, no, it's not going to be that way. Oh, no. Swear to God, it's $2,500. Car is never broken down in his life. It's always taken care of. But that means there was maintenance. No, don't. A perfect deluded salesman.
It should develop in a way that benefits our two peoples and fulfills our responsibility for human progress.
Human progress, big close on the eyes, body kind of takes a shot backwards. Something comes out of his mouth. I have no idea what it is. I don't read lips.
China-US relationship has never been smooth sailing over the past 50 years or more, and it always faces problems of one kind or another. Yet it has kept moving forward amid twists and turns. For two large countries like China and the United States, turning their back on each other is not an option. It is unrealistic for one side to remodel the other and...
He's taken a lot of hits here. I mean, it's quite telling that he's really getting a tongue lashing. Again, we have no idea what's been happening behind closed doors. And it's like every time it comes at him, he closes his eyes really slowly. He wants to avoid. Oh, ow, ooh, ow. The whole body is given the negative. He's looking around. The mind literally wants to sit there and take him in a room and do his salesman's pitch. That doesn't allow the other side to talk. I have now would love to know what in the world is going on behind that closed door. That's about as far as I want to go on this. It's infuriating to have no context on what the other side of the conversation is, meaning what was the true words spoken behind closed doors.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to learn more about analysing body language, there is a video course available on Mandy's website for Gold subscribers.